For this video, we are going to describe the limbic movement of a power clean, its purpose, and some biomechanical concepts that can promote a safer and effective way to complete the movement by comparing the movement between a novice and an expert. A power clean is when a barbell is pulled into a single movement from the platform to the shoulders while bending the legs. Here are some definitions to help us further understand this concept. Force is the strength or energy as an attribute of physical action or movement. Kinetic energy is the energy which a body possesses by virtue of being in motion. Potential energy is the energy possessed by a body by virtue of its position relative to others. The higher the barbell, the more gravitational potential energy. It will fall longer and faster as it accelerates towards the earth. As the barbell falls towards the ground, its gravitational potential energy is transformed into kinetic energy. Force is then exerted by the ground onto the barbell. The barbell then bounces back because of the greater change in momentum.
You can see we have the expert compared to the novice here. Do you notice any differences in their form? Here we have the novice performer. The novice is not assuming the proper stance of bending her legs before the initial power clean, thus not distributing weight properly during the movement, so her center of pressure is shifted forward. We can also see that the novice is using her back to support and pick up the weight of the bar rather than using her legs to carry the weight. Now for the expert performer. We see that he's assuming proper stance off the bat by squatting really low to the ground with his legs shoulder width apart. A common mistake that novices make is having their legs too far apart while executing the power clean and while landing. Prior to takeoff, the expert is engaging his core, quads, hamstrings, and calf muscles in order to maintain the steady form that is going to help him drive the force superiorly. We can also see that his hands are gripping the bar in a pronated position.
So here we can see the novice's center of mass being displayed by the blue dot in the center. The center of mass is a point representing the mean position of the matter in a body or system. So this is very similar to the center of pressure from before, except for in a 3D plane. As the novice begins to move, we see her center of mass shift upwards and it rocks back and forth in a motion that is not very consistent. The bar gets further away from even more inconsistent. We see the expert, as he begins to shift his center of mass, it is going to go straight up as he keeps the bar tight to his body and uses his entire body to move the bar forward. So one more time, we'll watch as the center of mass rises very fluently.
Of gyration and angular velocity. We know that mass is the amount of stuff that the weight in the bar has. We know that radius of gyration is the distance from the axis of rotation, where the mass of the body can be theoretically concentrated without altering the characteristics of that rotating body. Mass and radius of gyration make up the moment of inertia, which is the resistance to change in angular motion. Moment of inertia multiplied by the angular velocity of the object gives us our angular momentum. If we watch and compare both of these videos, we can see that the bar is staying close to the expert on the left, keeping that radius gyration close and decreasing the moment of inertia, which means a decreased angular momentum for the expert, allowing for a smoother and faster transition of the bar to the shoulders. Now comparing it to the novice on the right, the bar path has a longer distance from her body, which increases the radius gyration. An increased radius of gyration of the bar for the novice on the right means an increased moment of inertia, which is then increasing the overall angular momentum and resulting in a slower transition of the bar path, making a more unsafe and less effective movement. In conclusion, if we're talking about power clean and understanding what its main importances are. We can talk about the positioning, feet slightly tighter than shoulder width. We want hands pronated. We want a lower hip and back ratio compared to the shoulders. We want to start this movement by extending the hips and arms. We want to thrust with our hips and keeping the weight forward and close to our body. And the main question about all this is, why is this important? Power cleans are an important concept to any individual or athlete wanting to train in anaerobic energy. It develops a lot of muscular strength and explosion, which correlates to the anaerobic energy systems, increasing and using type 2 DX muscle fibers. It's very important to keep this technique with lifting large amounts of weight due to injuries, and allowing this proper technique allows for greater weight and better transition to the bar.